Gonna go out and talk to our guy Brian Baldinger, presented by our Insider Access segment powered by Verizon. Visit a Verizon store, switch to their award-winning 5G network, and get a $200 gift card. Baldy, let's bring him on, the man, the myth, the legend. Baldy, how's it going?
Life is good, guys. Life is good. I mean, we're in the holiday season. We're in the stretch run. I don't know. I'm in a great mood. I can't wait for tomorrow night's game and this Sunday's games. I'm ready.
Yeah, let's go, Baldy. And before we dive in, I saw on social media yesterday that you were at what you called the farm, working out. You have your own place. Where is the farm? And you said that yesterday was Flexibility Tuesday. What's today on the farm? What's Wednesday?
Well, the barn is Lane Johnson, the right tackle for the Eagles. That's his house, and he's got this barn in his backyard. He turned it into a big workout facility. So you never know who's going to be in there. It could be a UFC fighter. It could be a player that's trying to get back into the league. It could be the Herbig brothers. It could be, you never know who's going to be there. So it's not far from where I'm at NFL Films. So I get over there a couple days a week and try to pretend like I'm preserving whatever I got left in his body right now.
Man, I feel like the barn could do wonders for me. But Baldy, we've been talking about today on the show, how concerning are the Colts? Todd and I aren't worried about the Broncos playing the Colts, that we think they should take care of them. Henry has, any given Sunday, and we know that can happen. But from your perspective, how concerning should the Broncos be about the Colts, and what do the Broncos really have to watch out with for an upset there?
Well, I mean, since Anthony Richardson, was reinserted in the lineup, I mean, they're 3-2. They won against the Jets on a final drive. They scored in the final play against the Patriots last week, a 2-point conversion. Anthony Richardson made all the plays. I did his first game this year against the Houston Texans, and I don't know, the fourth, fifth play of the season, he launched literally a missile 65 yards in the air to Alec Pierce, hit him in stride. I mean, the guy's got a cannon. Sometimes he doesn't know where it's going. So he might throw two to you. He's had a couple last week. But he's a talented guy, and so is Jonathan Taylor and the offensive line, Quentin Nelson. It's a good offensive line in there. And defensively, I don't know. If you don't block Zaire Franklin, he'll make every tackle. And, they've got a good defensive front. And so they're capable, and they're coming off a bye, like you guys. So they'll be rested. Well, I guess they played last week, so you came off the bye. But they can be dangerous. I mean, they think they can make the playoffs just like you do, and so that's what they're. All these Sundays right now are basically entry-level playoff games. That's how they're going to play it.
I haven't had much of a chance to watch Anthony Richardson this year. I got to watch that full Patriots game, which was awesome. But I'm curious for you, as somebody who gets to see more of him. Can you see improvement? Because when you just look at the numbers, it doesn't look like they're trending upward.
I can see improvement. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty close with Shane Steichen. I don't think Shane would BS me. I mean, it's just not his style. But he feels like the study habits, just the questions that he asks. Joe Flacco's his backup. I've talked to Joe about him. He's a pretty quiet kid. He's pretty humble. But I'm not sure if we're going to see accuracy improvement like we've seen from Josh Allen. I don't know that we're going to see that kind of jump, but we're going to see. But it's that kind of talent. It's Josh Allen type of talent. Josh Allen went from being, I don't know what he was at Wyoming, 53, 54%, wasn't very good his first year, and now he's, the leading candidate to win the MVP. So I don't know if he's going to make that kind of a jump because he just hasn't played that much football. But just when you say that, he'll throw a stick throw in traffic and he'll hit it. But then he'll sail one 20 yards over a receiver's head. So it's just highly inconsistent right now. But you do see improvement for sure. Decision-making, some accuracy things. And then when he wants to turn the talent on, he's basically second to none in this business.
Jonathan Taylor has been running the football really well, but I feel like the last 3 weeks he's kind of slowed down. What has been the difference in his production these last 3 weeks and kind of prior to that?
Well, I would say that nothing, usually what you see from Jonathan Taylor, when he has a big game, 100 yards plus or something close to that, he gets a big run. He'll get, a 40-yard run, and you might get a lot of 3 and 4 and 5-yard runs. But that's what's been missing is just a big run that he's, when he led the league in rushing 2 years ago, we all can remember some of those long runs that he had. That seems to be what's missing right now. But that can come at any time too, and so I wouldn't just look at the stat page because we're all guilty of it. Going, okay, yards per rush, where's the 100-yard games? You just have to look at the big runs. When he gets those, he's going to get you 100.
Baldy, when it comes to the Broncos, right before their bye week, they had quite a game against the Browns. It was electric, fireworks on both sides of the ball, and one of them was the Browns and Jameis Winston kind of having their way through the air against the Broncos defense. Kind of a two-parter here. Did that game show how important Riley Moss is since he wasn't able to play due to an injury? And then the second part is how concerning is that for the Broncos defense, or do you just kind of say that that's a one-off game for them?
Well, they got 2 pick sixes now too. So,
Yeah.
You can give up 400 yards passing and you're scoring twice on defense. Deion Sanders told me a long time ago, the only good defense is a scoring defense. I mean, that's how he thought. And you saw Benito, you see, Jaquan, take him back. But, I do think it was, look, no, I'm not here to say anything bad about Levi Wallace. He's out there because Riley's not there. And so I think it makes a big difference. And they went after him with Judy and they got the big plays over the top. And Riley, I think, I'm not saying he was going to shut all that down, but he's a really good player. And so I think that you'll see less of that if he's in the lineup.
What would your strategy for the defense be this week? Just because Anthony Richardson is so unique, do you send extra blitzers and try to hurry him up and rush him into bad decisions? Do you leave more help back because your 3 options at cornerback are Levi Wallace, Chris Abrams-Drain, Damari Mathis, all of whom have some sort of concerns? I'm just curious what you would do in this situation.
It's a good question, and I'm trying to think of it in real time here. Like I think you just got to mix it up, because honestly, if you try to spy Anthony Richardson, I don't care who it's with. He's going to outrun your spy. I don't know if that's a good idea. I'd rather get pressure to him and speed up his decision making. And if he beats you on some runs, he beats you on some runs. But I would try to not let him get comfortable, not let his feet get set. I'd try to get him as off balance as I possibly could. So I would tend to speed it up a little bit, come off the corner, Jaquan, send my linebackers, run my twist. Benito can beat either tackle out there right now. He seems to come more from the right side. So I would say, I'd send my guys, Zach and Benito and my guys, but I might speed it up a little bit by sending one of my backers.
Baldy, I want to talk to you about our offensive line. We know they've been doing a good job protecting the quarterback. And the number 1 offensive line as far as pass blocking is concerned. Do they need to have a special game plan for guys like Buckner and Lot 2, or can they go out there and go mano-a-mano and try to find a way to win the game?
I think, honestly, a big part of their success in all phases is they've just run a lot less pre-snap motion. Because, everybody that runs that, we all talk about it, we like it, except, every time you move, the defense moves. And I feel like they've kind of cut back on some of it, not all of it, but some of it. And I feel like assignment-wise, they're much better. And so they've been very good in protection, but the tight ends and the backs have been a big part of it. And then Bo's mobility has been a big part of it. All that stuff is good. But I think, in the run game right now, I think Buckner is an outstanding 3 technique. Latu has the ability, just like he did at UCLA. He's got a variety of moves. So Garrett's going to get tested. He's going to get tested out there. He's going to see cross chop. He's going to see speed to power. He'll see a spin. He's a very, very adroit rusher. But so is Kwity Paye. They've got 5 or 6 guys that were drafted at the top, first or second round that also are very, very good. So, I think the whole group is pretty good. Last year, I think they finished 3rd or 4th in sacks a year ago. So they have a bunch of guys there that all are capable of winning one-on-ones.
Baldy, I got to ask you about Bo Nix. And when the Broncos drafted Bo Nix, there were some people that threw out, oh, maybe he can be the next Drew Brees. And of course, a lot of people rolled their eyes to that. But now that Bo has played so well, just his first year with Sean, his first year in the NFL, do you actually see similarities between Bo and maybe, or between Drew and maybe what Bo can become, and it's not maybe as crazy anymore?
Well, if you think about the history of Drew Brees, I mean, he was drafted by San Diego, and they gave up on him in San Diego. He got hurt, gave up on him, went to Phillip Rivers. I remember doing a game out there when they started. They benched Drew Brees, and Drew Brees became really Drew Brees. He was still good. Don't get me wrong. He was good in San Diego, but he became Drew Brees with Sean Payton. We were on here the first 2 weeks of the season. He couldn't complete a pass to a wide receiver the first 2 weeks of the season. Cortland Sutton was he didn't know where the ball was going. And now you look at what he's doing with Cortland or any of these receivers, Devon, whoever it is. You see rapid development. The one thing about Drew Brees, and I don't know this about Bo, but Drew Brees could do every part of the offense. If it was a check with me, he knew when to go to a run and what run to go to. If it was to get out of a run because of a bad look in front, he knew what pass to get to. That only comes with time, that at the line of scrimmage type thing. Sean can really help him through that right now. So I don't know where he's at in that development. I can't tell from where I'm at and without being in any of those meetings. But I remember talking to offensive line coaches in New Orleans, and they would tell me just how involved Drew was. So I would say that he's on a good arc. It's hard to predict Hall of Fame because Drew Brees was so healthy for so long and really avoided the injury thing. And he didn't run the way Bo Nix runs. So that sort of helped him. But you see incredible development. And he's in that discussion right now for the Offensive Rookie of the Year. You just have to include him. And if he finishes these last 4 weeks, the way we've seen the last 4 weeks, he might very well get that award. But I'm not going to predict Hall of Fame status for him, but the development is dramatic.
I'm curious if there's anything about Bo that has surprised you now that we have seen, 3/4 of a season from him.
I would say just even when things weren't going great, and they were all, they were 3 and outs and all those, the guy played with a lot of poise. You don't see, if I said, okay, Zach Wilson is there, as, I don't know, third team quarterback. I watched Zach Wilson in New York every single week, and he played literally helter-skelter football. Now, the protection wasn't great, and there was breakdowns and all that, but you just don't see that style from him, where it's just panic mode, and he sees color coming at him, and he just, you see a real poise and good decision-making from him throughout. And now you're seeing tremendous, the touchdown in the last game to Cortland Sutton. He's got to drop that ball in with touch. In the end, you're seeing the ball with touch. You've seen him layering some footballs right now. And he obviously sees the field very, very well. All those things impress me.
Baldy, last question for you. We've been talking about the playoffs a lot, making the playoff push, and talking about a couple of different teams that are out there that the Broncos could potentially play. Is there anybody that you feel like the Broncos match up well with, whether it be the Chiefs, the Bills, the Steelers, or the Texans, that they could potentially play in the first round?
Well, you're fighting the Chargers right now, and you're going to see the Chargers. I think you actually match up well with the Chargers because the Chargers just aren't an explosive team. Yeah. So they're not going to score a lot of points. Now, defensively, they played really well. But, I would love, I'd love to see a game. We just watched Joe Burrow, play the one perfect game after another. We just watched him on Monday night. I'd love to see Joe Burrow against your defense. I'd love to see Patrick Surtain and Jamar Chase go at it. Just from a fan standpoint and from a standpoint of being an analyst, those are the type of matchups that you would love to see out there in the perimeter. And I know Patrick would love that challenge. We've seen it against Brock Bowers and different players, Garrett Wilson, different guys this year, and in the past, Devontae, whatever. But that would excite me right now.
Man, I think that would excite Pat and Broncos country because the last time those two teams played, Baldy, Pat held Jamar Chase to 1 catch for 9 yards. And so my last question for you is, in order to get to the playoffs, Broncos have 4 more games. They play the Colts this weekend, on the road against the Chargers, on the road against the Bengals, and then at home against the Chiefs, who might be sitting their players that game potentially. I want to ask you, what do you think the Broncos' record in these final 4 games is going to be? Are they going to be able to get the job done?
I'm not betting against them. I'm going to see the Chargers this weekend against Tampa out in LA, so I'm announcing that game. So I'm really excited to see them live and up. Because it looks like they have no passing game without Lad McConkey, and he's their go-to guy. And, he's really, really good. He's really a great route runner. But it looks like they just don't have, with, JK out, they lost a lot of firepower. Then I don't know what McConkey's status is, but I like the Broncos this weekend. I like them against the Chargers. Cincinnati's fighting for their lives. And so, I feel like they've got 3 wins. Which I don't know what is that? What's that get them? That gets them to
11.
11 wins. That should get you in, right?
Yep.
So if they get 11, they're gonna be in the playoffs. If they get 10, they're probably tiebreakers are probably going to come into play right now, just because of some of the teams that they're going against. So I like their chances. They look like a playoff team to me. Defensively, they've been very good all year. You got to play great defense to be in the playoffs. We've seen the development from the offense. The run game is starting to come on slowly. They need that. They look like one of those 6th or 7th seeded teams in the playoffs to me right now. But they got to go do it. So I feel like they are a playoff team the way that they've developed, and I'd be surprised if they're not.
Well, I'll tell you just made Broncos Country's day right there, Baldy. Baldy's Broncos breakdowns are the best. Thank you, Baldy. Have a great weekend, and look forward to talking to you about the Chargers after you watch them this week.
I look forward to telling you what I see all the way. Thank you, guys.
Right on. Thanks, Baldy.